Episode 2 of the Ground Game Dental Podcast, presented to you by Dr. Daryl Turkulis. And today I wanted to explain why I decided to build a fee-for-service practice. I didn't go into a fee-for-service practice or build a fee-for-service practice for the money. I did it because I wanted to provide the best care for my patients. I did it to care more. And it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Like, you become a dentist, you wear this white coat, and you automatically assume or you think that you're gonna care more. But when you get third-party interference, mainly insurance, dictating your care, then all of what you studied for gets lost in translation. And then you start bending your own ethics to produce, to get money, to pay for loans, the practice, business, payroll, overhead. So when I opened the practice, or when I first acquired my first practice, I made a decision that I wasn't going to be like any other dentist, which was being in network. It was a risky move to stay out of network and to not coerce or accept the fees or be controlled or dictated by what insurance. Because there's always patients, believe it or not, our patients are always loyal to their wallet, right? So, and then especially when it comes to insurance, when they're sold on the insurance, when they sign up at their employer, from their employer, employers are always going to say, hey, you're 100% covered. In reality, insurance is a scam. It's best to think of it like a coupon. I remember looking at reimbursements rates for insurance companies and thinking, there's no way I can do the quality of work and spend the time with my patients for the rate that I was getting reimbursed. And that's pretty much a slap to the face of every dentist. The insurance dictates your value. But we go to school for many years, science, art, the science and art of dentistry, so it's a lot of work. And a lot of dentists want to feel valued and make sure that the work that they're doing is actually worth it. I don't want my work or my patients be reduced to numbers and codes. So fee-for-service isn't about being fancy or exclusive. It's about having the freedom to choose the best materials, the best equipment, spending any amount of time with the patient so that they understand and value what I, the provider, can give. Nowadays, most people assume that their insurance is going to 100% cover it. In reality, no. Insurance, think of insurance like a coupon. It's probably worse than a coupon because at least on the coupon it tells you what you're actually going to get and it actually happens. With insurance, there's always someone on the back end dictating and saying yes to reimbursement or yes to the treatment and no to the treatment. And that's where the insurance interference comes in. And it hasn't changed since the 1980s. There's always been a $1,500 to a $2,000 cap. And over the years, did it account for inflation? No. And that's the problem. So insurance is not protection. It's pretty much a coupon. When I decided to go fee for service, I wanted to treat the patient. I didn't want to treat the insurance plan or be limited or handcuffed to what insurance can or cannot pay. I get to build relationships with my patients, not quotas. So I always tell my patients, or patients always tell me that, man, doc, you're like the most expensive dentist on the block. In actuality, the answer, what I would tell them is not really. You're just used to paying less. And that's where insurance kind of brainwashes our patients to always think insurance first. Does insurance cover it, yes or no? Co-pays, with doctors sign a contract with the insurance, accepting a certain fee. So the co-pays are a lot less or less than generous. So I want to be a practice that I was proud of, that I wanted my patients to be a part of, and also be proud of, what we do here, be proud of their doctor, and, be comfortable stepping in, knowing that they are well taken care of. I wanted my patients to trust us, trust the plan, trust the treatment, and not defer to, hey doc, does my insurance cover this? Yes or no? I'll only do it if my insurance does. And to them, that's when the insurance company wins. So it took a lot of courage, a lot of patience, blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of thoughts go into the practice, and what we can do is, share to the patient, prove to the patient that we value you, the patient, and your health. My days are filled with patients who value health, who respect my time, and who share my philosophy, which is, if you do it once, you gotta do it right. Cheapest option or whatever insurance dictates usually ends up becoming very expensive, meaning it's gonna be done at least twice, maybe even 3 times. It took courage and a lot of patience, and the way I practice is difficult. Insurance companies funnel patients to certain doctors who are in network. When you're out of network, you rely on the business, the good service, your team, the skill work, the quality of your work, and making sure the patient feels valued and that the patient also values your work. Because at the end of the day, all I have is me, all I have is a team. I don't have insurance funneling me patients. And that's the tough part. People can't stomach that, and then they have to do, as an out-of-network doctor, you're gonna have to do more work, extra work to get those patients in. However, the benefits, I'm not running around playing the volume game, having to do 5-10 crowns on a patient or 5-10 crowns when all I need to do is 1 or 2, right? And these are ethical patients. These are ethical treatment that I'm not having to overdiagnose just to meet a quota. So nowadays, my days are filled with patients who value their health, who respect my time, and then who also share the philosophy of, if you do it once, do it right. As one thing I'll leave you guys with is, when you remove insurance from the owner side, the practice side, and also from the patient side, you restore integrity. Right? You restore integrity because now this is a patient-doctor relationship where the patient is going to trust the doctor. No insurance to get in the way. So there's a heavy communication that needs to be done. Story time. I had a patient, right? Big name insurance company, was shopping around. One of their chief complaints was, I'm looking for a second or third opinion. I went to one doctor said I needed 4 crowns. She went to another doctor in that office. That doctor said, no, you actually only have 4 cavities. The third doctor in that office, over a span of like 6 weeks, told them, oh, you don't need anything, you just need a deep cleaning. So the treatment plans have all changed. She was very upset, but didn't know what to do because one doctor said something different, that doctor said something different to the third. So where does she go? And I can see where, the confusion, or the quote unquote, how she said was, I want to find an honest dentist who can let me know what I really have. Here's the kicker. She filled out the intake form, she went through all that, and then she went back, and this is the cycle that I'm trying to break. She filled out everything, was ready to go, and then the day of, she was like, oh, I realized that, my insurance, you're not in network. And then what did she do? She canceled her appointment. But I got enough information to learn or understand, that's what happens. It's both patient and doctor problems. Multiple doctors said one thing. She ended up saying, oh, by the way, you're not in network, so I can't see you. And that's the unfortunate part. That's an interesting story where insurance, affected the doctors, 4 crowns, 4 fillings, or deep cleaning, right? And then she in turn asked for a second opinion, realized, oh, by the way, you're not in network, so I'm gonna go somewhere else. So then that's where insurance played or impacted her. Not making the best decision for her, she pretty much said, oh, if insurance is not going to pay or be networked, then I won't go to him. It wasn't about her accepting responsibility or her being like, oh, let me see what this doctor says because I'm curious and I want to know really what's going on. And by no means am I a better doctor than those other doctors. I don't know if she actually needed 4 crowns or 4 fillings or a deep cleaning. But the intent was there, but she used the insurance as a cop-out to not get an exam. For me, it was a matter of, okay, I'm here to help you. Let's see what we can do. But in the end, I didn't get that chance. And that's the unfortunate part. And this is what we deal with. So a lot of patients value their health. So those are the patients that I work with and who I truly appreciate because they trust me with my skills, diagnosis, patient satisfaction. And then I also trust them, to give me honest feedback, to let me know, what it is that they want so I can work with them. Thanks for listening. That was day 2 of the Ground Game Dental Podcast. This is Dr. Daryl Torkeless out of San Diego. And if you like what you're listening to this on day 2, let me know in the comments below. I'm just trying to put content out there for not just for doctors, but also for patients to kind of see what's going on both sides. All right. Thanks for listening.